Hello, everyone. I just want to touch base on our arm transitions from crescent lunge to warrior two, back into crescent lunge. That's going to be our example. There are a few things, not a few things, a few ways that you can bring your hands back down to the floor from a lifted position. So whether your arms are crescent lunge lifted, warrior two lifted, eventually you're going to transition from some sort of a standing position back down to a forward fold to continue on with something else that requires your hands to be on the floor. So they're very simple, and you might even be doing them inadvertently without even thinking about it. But don't think that one is the end all. There are days where lifting your arms up over your head is just too difficult, and that shouldn't impede you from still doing some of these transitions, still doing your yoga practice. So again, it's always finding your modification. So, for example, you have come from your crescent lunge. Again, your arms could be here at your waist. They could be at a cactus because the arm span is too difficult. They could be uplifted here. They might be a little wider. So I'm going to pretend that this is where we're at. And then we have opened up into our warrior two. Now, my arms, again, they could be cactus, they could be waist. I'm going to start with this one and then give you a couple of options. So from here, I'm going to try to come forward with my legs and my hands as a transition into something else. So basically, I want to get my hands out of the air and I want to get them down to the floor. So the easiest transition from your wingspan arms, the easiest one to do, in my opinion, is to simply drop the back arm down to the floor as you're pivoting onto the back toes, and you can bring your fingers either to your blocks, your mat, and there they are. So you've already transitioned very easily back forward, and then we can continue from here to do other things. So I'm going to come back up. And again, in my warrior two, my arms are here. Now, if I have a little bit more strength, I can what we call cartwheel our hands. So we're going to pretend that we're going to do a cartwheel, but we're not going to. So basically, my front hand starts to go down. My back hand will start to come up and over. I'm going to go up towards the sky first. And as I'm rotating on the back toe, I can kind of bring this hand up and over, and bam, there's my hands on the floor. I'm using my blocks now, and again, remember, you could be using your blocks at any height. They could be on the floor, but I've transitioned from open hips, open arms, into realigned hips. They're facing forward. My arms are not in a T position any longer. I've realigned everything towards the front of my mat. Yeah? So, let's say I'm not at my wingspan arms. I can do pretty much exactly the same thing from cactus. From cactus, I can simply drop and turn. Yeah? From my cactus, I can do like a little funky cartwheel. I could start a very shorter or shallower cartwheel as I rotate and I bring my hands here. Yeah? So the only difference there was that my long arm span was shorter. Now, you might be on a day where my arms didn't even go up. Here they are. They're on my waist. So let's say it's a day that your arms are just too tired and you're working on your lunges and working into Warrior Two, but you don't want to do any arms whatsoever, here, I could have started from here. Here's my hands on my hips. I could have worked into my lunge. I can be working all of those different things that I need to be working on in my lunge. I could be working on my Warrior Two. I've yet used my arms. They're still on my hips. I can be working on all of those pointers that I need for my Warrior Two. I can even come back to my crescent lunge, work on the leg strength. I've not done anything in a lifting of the arms. And then I can just hinge from my hip and I can bring my hands down. So I can do all of those leg things, working on the strength from the bottom up. My arms should be the last thing I do. So we have a tendency, it's like, yes, I have to get into crescent lunge. I have to get into crescent lunge. I have to get into Warrior Two. I have to get into crescent lunge. I have to get into Warrior Two. And I'm so concentrated on my arms that my legs are just doing who knows what. So work your legs first. Even if it's days, weeks, months before you add shoulders or any arm movement over the head. I can really still work on my practice, work on my leg strength, work on stepping forward, stepping back, rotating. I can do all of those things without recruiting any shoulders. So let's say you have a shoulder injury, but you still want to practice. If you have a shoulder injury, you're not going to try to do a handstand, but you can still work on other things, yeah? So you're still going to work on the modification that you need. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm very big on finding the modification that works for you, because we're all at different fitness levels. We're all at different stages in our yoga practice. Whether it's day number 1 for you in your yoga practice or it's day 1,000. All of these things, eventually, one day, you are going to use these modifications for whatever reason. So it's really good if you have them in your toolbox. So if you ever are working on one particular modification and it takes you a little bit longer to kind of work that one in and you forget some of the other ones, that's the beauty of these videos. You can kind of go back and go, hey, what was that other modification that she said? What was she talking about this? What makes it easier? What makes it harder? So you can pick and choose, you can customize. So when you actually get to your flow, again, it's not going to look exactly like me here. When you come to a class, it's not going to look exactly like the instructor. It's going to be personalized. You are unique. Not everybody has the body build that I have. Not everybody has the height that I have. Some people are shorter. Some people are thinner. There's so many variables. It's going to change how you look. And it's not so much about, oh, she's more flexible than me. I'm not the most flexible person. I've seen much more flexible people. But the point is, I'm working on those imperfections. I know that one side is not the same as the other. I know that I'm stronger on one side than I am on the other. I know that my mobility needs improvement. I've been doing yoga for a minute or two, but I still need improvement. There's always more. Now, how much more or how much more effort you want to put into it, that's totally up to you. Like I said, you can stay in Shavasana, do a couple of cat-cows, go back to Shavasana, and that might be your practice all week, all month, for a long time. And is it wrong? No, that's what you need at that moment. So if that's what you need, take that. If you want something and you need something a little harder, you start adding in those pieces that you need. So that's it for this one. So hopefully very soon then we're going to put in another mini flow, and you can pick all of your leg modifications and you can pick what arm modification suits you best. We'll talk to you soon.